It's time for my annual MS story update. Let's start with some facts and a bit of review. I am 57 years old and I was diagnosed in May of 2017. So it's been 6 years since my diagnosis. May 25th is my diagnosis-versary, but my first relapse happened in 2006, so I'm really about 17 years in. I just wasn't diagnosed in 2006, and in hindsight, I believe I may have had subtle symptoms of MS for years before that. I'm collecting some old medical records now and looking into them to see if I can piece together when my MS really started. I'll make a video if I find anything interesting. Okay, a bit of recap of my story. In 2006, I started to develop foot drop over the course of a weekend, and I spent the next week being examined by doctors and having lots and lots of tests, which ended with a short stay in a hospital and a neurosurgeon coming in one day saying, "Good news, it's not a tumor, but meet your new neurologist." My new neurologist, who looked like he was about 12, was really nice, and he let me know that he suspected MS, but he wasn't sure because even though I had this lesion in my neck, my lumbar puncture came back inconclusive, and the steroids that they had me on were working really well to help reduce the foot drop. He wanted to watch and see, and that was really okay with me because I was kind of freaking out thinking I had MS. I went for MRIs and an appointment with him every 6 months for the next 2 years, and nothing new happened. He told me that everything looked good, so I could go live my life and call him if I started to have new symptoms. In the meantime, I started making some diet and lifestyle changes because the original relapse really got my attention and scared me, so I wanted to take better care of my health. I started eating more vegetarian and more whole foods. I started doing yoga and I added mindfulness. Then I started having new symptoms in 2016 and I started going back to my doctors. My original neurologist had moved to another specialty, so I saw someone else. And they didn't see anything conclusive, so I started going to other doctors. Over the course of the year, I saw 5 different doctors and I eventually ended with an MS diagnosis. Then I started on my disease-modifying therapy, my DMT. If you'd like to see more on how I knew that I had MS, you can watch the video. I'll put a link above and below, and I'll also put it on the end screen of this video. So this is when I took another look at things that I could do to help support my health. One of the first places that I found that encouraged diet and lifestyle changes based on research was the Overcoming MS organization. And again, I'll put a link above and below if you would like to check them out. I committed to a whole food, plant-based diet, started exercising more, and started meditating more. I went on to get a certificate in plant-based nutrition and attended a class in preventing and reversing disease with diet led by Dr. Caldwell Esselstyn at the Cleveland Clinic. I also took an 8-week mindfulness-based stress reduction class. All of these helped me to better understand how to support my body to be healthy and live well with chronic illness. I continue to watch the research and make adjustments to support my body to live as well as it can. There are 2 areas that I'm really interested in right now: the benefits of good sleep and the importance of having a healthy gut microbiome. And I'll link a couple of books below if you would like to check them out. So how am I doing? I'm doing really well. I have symptoms that are present from previous damage, but they're really manageable. I have sensation loss on the left, mostly in my hand and foot, and it can intensify and become painful with heat and overexertion or stress or bad sleep. There's also a small spot on my face that is numb too. I get some spasms in my left leg from time to time, and I have fatigue and some cog fog too. All of these are manageable, and I'm able to lead an active life and do most of the things that I want to do. Occasionally, I change my plans because of symptoms, but that's not the norm. I'm continuing with the generic of Copaxone. It's working well and the side effects are minimal for me. I would consider changing to a different DMT if needed, but I'm happy with my choice for now. I also treat my symptoms with medication as needed. I take a muscle relaxer to help with my spasms, and it also helps me to sleep better. I eat a whole food plant-based diet and feed my body the most nutritious food that I can. I'm exercising regularly and try to keep my body strong and stable, and I also try to stretch twice a day. When I do, I find my spasms are greatly reduced. And I'm trying to get good sleep. This one is kind of a work in progress. Sometimes the sleep is elusive. And I'm practicing kindness through mindfulness and compassion. This includes regular meditation and seeing my therapist regularly, and taking care of my spiritual life, and remembering to be kind to others and to myself. One of the things that did happen this year was I caught COVID. I was sick with cold-like symptoms and amazing fatigue for about 2 weeks, and then the increased fatigue and cog fog lingered. I had post-viral syndrome, long COVID. It took about 5 months for me to feel back to normal. Well, as normal as I can. Let's just say back to my normal. I am evolving and changing as the years go by. I am now much more focused on maintaining my health and the things that I'm grateful for. I wouldn't wish MS on anyone, but it has brought gifts into my life. Despite my illness, I am the healthiest I've ever been. I have met some amazing people in this community, and some have become dear friends. I've developed more compassion for those with chronic illness. You don't know until you know, am I right? And I have some awesome people in my life that support and help me. I am grateful for the lessons learned and how I now make self-care a priority. Yeah, there's a lot to be grateful for. I'm trying to continue to learn about MS and overall health. I find it really fascinating. Like this past year, the Epstein-Barr virus was causally linked to MS. And with COVID, there's a lot more research happening into the way viruses work and how they behave and how we can deal with them. It looks like they're getting really close to a vaccine for Epstein-Barr virus. This is all really exciting stuff. The scientific community is evolving and changing too. So, what's to come? I have a couple things that I'm working on, like losing the weight that I added during the pandemic. Did any of you gain weight too? Let me know in the comments below. I'm also working on getting into better shape. I lost some muscle strength and tone over the past 3 years too, and of course working on my sleep. I will continue to control the things that I can, like what I consume and how I move my body to keep it fit, and paying attention to my sleep habits and living mindfully. I will still get my annual MRIs and talk with my neurologist on how she thinks my MS is doing. I'll also still get my blood work done and work with my naturopathic doctor and my neurologist on what supplements to take. My goal is to continue to live well with my MS. I will continue to make videos weekly and share my thoughts and what I'm reading and the latest research and recipes, and have guest speakers on and topics all around living well with chronic illness. Oh, and I'm also working on a cookbook on simply nutritious meals, and I'll share details on how that's coming along and recipes in my newsletters. Are there topics that you'd like to see on my channel? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoy content like this, please give it a thumbs up, the like under the video. Don't forget to subscribe and sign up for my newsletter using the link in the comments. Also, sharing these videos helps this channel a lot. Thanks so much. Until next time, be well.